Hello, everybody, and thank you for attending our webinar today on commission. Similar to how we create company cards, we create travel agency cards by going into revenue management and NT cards. Now, we'll make you search for something so you can't duplicate any information here. So if I was creating a new travel agency, call it Delta Travel, you'll notice that it doesn't find any travel agency under that name or any company. I have an option to add a new card. Add a new card gives me the option to select whether I'm making a company card or if I'm making a travel agency card. For this exercise, I'm going to actually look for travel agency card. This information on the left is pretty self-explanatory. You want to put your address here, your city, sure of a zip code. I know Delta's in Atlanta, so I'm just going to pick on Delta Airlines. I guess they have some kind of travel agency. Here, email address, web address, fax number as well. Your IATA number, which is pretty important for travel agencies. You can now put that over here. And I'm just making something up right now. If I had like a tax ID number, I can. Right here is the commission. So if I want to make this travel agency get this due to, I can turn this on. It will default to put a 10% commission rate on here, but I can amount different percentage of commissions if I need to.
Okay, so as I'm filling out my travel agency card, I do have my commission rate here. I have turned it on. If my commission was prepaid, because we do have the ability to track your prepaid commissions, I would just check this box right here. Once I have my information, I have a primary contact detail information down here as well. I can click on Save New Card. And then from the actual agency card, I can actually go into my commissions tab here and track any commissions that are currently due for this travel agency. We'll come back to this when we actually go into looking at commissions generated. The other place that you can mark commissions that are due are on the rate code itself. So if I go into settings here, and we're going to go into our rate code setup. So we're going into rates. And this is my training hotel, so I have a lot of kind of, different rate codes in here, but I'm going to look at, I think I know that I have my best available rate is marked as commissionable. When you're building your rate code, or if you're going to an existing rate code, in the rate details section, under our additional details tab, this is where you're going to actually mark it as commissionable, and actually it's not marked. But from here, I would just turn this on to commission, and I would say that this is 10%. At this point, I need to select the charge codes that revenue generates commission on. So revenue is generated on room charge revenue, but let's say, for example, I had upsells, I had early checkouts, late check-ins, or if those are revenue codes that you consider to be commissionable, you need to check all those codes that would actually be marked as commission. But normally you're just going to do room charge. You might do upsell because that's technically part of the rate. It's just depending on how you want to generate commissions. So this is going to generate off of my room charge. I can now save my tax, save it, and all reservations with that rate code will generate a commission. For groups, if you need to actually be able to generate commissions on your group, I'm going to go into one of my groups here at the hotel. And we'll look at the Good Friday retreat. You'll notice on my group here, I have a group test rate code attached here. When you load rates in groups, there are two ways of loading rates. You can do custom rates where you're actually loading rates ad hoc on the actual group. And the other way you can do it is by attaching an actual rate code to the block. In order to generate commissions for a group, you must attach a rate code to the group. Commissions will not generate by using the custom rate. So make sure if any of your groups are supposed to be commissionable that you're actually using a group rate code and attaching that to the group to load the rates. All right, so we've discussed how to actually create a travel agency card. We've discussed how to mark our rate codes as commissionable as well as travel agency in our groups. Now that we've done that, we can actually move into commissions and taking a look at where our commissions generate. So under financials here, I have a section here called commissions. And when I pull this up, this is going to show me my current commissions or travel agencies that have any commissions due to them. Now, if you'll notice over here on the right, it does default to show you only a week view. What I tell users usually is just to clear this out. That way this will show me all my commissions due, and you'll notice that I now have 7 commissions due versus the 2 that it showed previously. And then from here, I can actually choose a particular date range if I wanted to. If I had a lot of commissions due here, I could filter this out by searching for a travel agency name or a specific IATA number or a city to find what I'm looking for. You'll notice the filter button over here on the right has a little notification bubble. That is indicating to me that I have commissions that are set as non-commissionable. And we'll get to that in a second on how to convert that over to a commissionable reservation. To the right of here, we have our printer. If I wanted to print out this report, I could do so. And this will show me all my travel agencies with the total amount of commission due. Below here, this indicates how many commissions we have to pay, which are 9. I see how many I have on hold, which I have none on hold currently right now. And I see eligible for payment is set to 0 because we haven't marked anything as payment yet. This export will allow me to export the commissions that are currently due, and it will give me a standard CSV file. So if you do have integration with a third party that just needs a CSV, you can download the CSV. You can also email them right here by just typing in their email address and export it, and that will send out that export. There's a checkbox up here at the top. If I check this, this will actually highlight all of my travel agencies that are currently due. This is a way for me to mark everything as paid if I need to. So I can set to paid, and this will pay off all commissions for all travel agencies that I have currently highlighted there. Or vice versa, I could put everything on hold if I needed to. And this, again, would put every commission that is on each travel agency that is checked as hold. Clear selection will actually just remove all the checkboxes. All right, from here, I can actually go into Amex Travel here, and I can see that these commissions that are currently due. From here, I can actually mark these as paid. And this is just a quick way of doing this. I'm not really going into the reservation. I can't do any modifications on it. But if I just know for a fact that these are already paid, I can check those individual ones and then set them as paid up here at the top. But if I wanted to actually go into here and take a look at more information, this will take me into the travel agency card. And here I can track my commissions. I see each my revenue here on the left. In the middle here, I see the total amount of commission that is due. And then I see the total dollar amount of the commission. To the right of that, I have hold buttons. So let's say if I needed, for whatever reason, to hold Samantha B's commissions, I can click on that hold. And that is an indicator that we are holding commissions. We're not paying that off. I need to research something, what have you. That's the reason why I would put it on hold. If I'm ready to pay one, I can actually just uncheck it on hold. I could just toggle this switch right here. And that marks the commission as paid. You'll notice that Samantha B is now gone. If I want to do multiples, again, I could use my checkboxes over here, and I could set the status right here to paid. And that would move them to paid commissions. I can also do multiple holds. If I needed to put multiples on hold, I could do that. And if for whatever reason I needed to unpay a commission, I could do use my unpaid option here. I do have a paid status option over here on the right. If I wanted to, I could look at all my paid commissions. And this shows me that I have paid off Mickey Mouse and Samantha B's commissions. And then under here, if I had any prepaid commissions, which I do have an example, I'll show you that in just a second. It will show me my prepaid commissions here, and then any commissions that I have on hold will be there. If I want to look at everything, I can click all, and that's just going to show me all commissions. You'll notice these two are paid because I have a green button, and it's toggled over here on the left. If I needed to go into a reservation, I can actually click on it. So if I went into Heather Muscatine, this will take me into the reservation. And from here, I can go into the bill, take a look at the revenue, make any adjustments I need to, attach it to a different travel agency if I need to do that. And then I can go back to the agency itself. So I'm going to mark a few paid here. So I'm going to do Mark Twain, Heather Delta, and Shane Nichols. And I'm going to set my status to paid. And those have paid off those 3 reservations. Lead commissions. All right, so I'm going to go back to my travel agencies here. Go financials, go back to commissions. And this time I'm going to talk about my filter over here on the far right. If I click on my filter option here, I have an option here to include non-commissionable bills. So if I do that and hit apply, this is going to show me any travel agencies that have commissions that aren't due. And this could happen if for some reason, say your travel agency was marked as non-commissionable and you had reservations attached to it. Those reservations would actually fall into a non-commissionable status, but it still will show on the travel agency. So if I actually go into United World Travel, I can see on the contact information tab, my commissions is off. But if I go to my commissions here, I still see that I have one that had generate commissions because this was a non-commissionable one that was converted earlier. But if I go to my non-commissionable, I can see that I have a reservation for Christina Lee. She has revenue here, but she has zero amount here. If I check her box, I get this recalculate commission option right here. And this will allow me to go ahead and add a commission to a reservation that's technically considered non-commissionable. So I put 10%, I recalculate it. And now if I go to commissionable, I see that the reservation now has generated commissions. And that regenerate option will work on any commission. If I see something in my commissions that isn't correct and I need to recalculate it, if I see this is at 10%, but for whatever reason it needed to be 12%, I can recalculate that, and that will regenerate my total amount commissions due. And it works the same on, like, if I was looking at even commissionable reservations. Let me change my dates here. Sorry. See, I always forget to take out these dates. It's always important to do that so you can see everything. From here, I can click on Heather Muscatine, and let's say it would need to be a flat dollar amount instead. So I check the box here, and let's say I need to do a flat dollar. I can say, you know what, this is just going to be a flat $25. I recalculate, and now I see that her tax has changed to just a $25 flat rate, or commission, I mean, not tax. Anything else I need to know on the travel agency, I can put that in my notes section here. I can type any notes on the travel agency commission. If I needed to add a contract, which is negotiated rates, which that's a whole another webinar, I can also add a contracted rate to a name-based travel as well. We do have some reports available for you. If I go into my reports section here, and I know we've done some enhancements on these reports recently. I can look at travel agency commissions. If I can look at a date range, if I go back, say, all the way a couple months, I can select a particular travel agency if I wanted to, or if I just want to do all of them, I can show all of them. And this report will show me all reservations with the travel agency up here at the top. So you'll see Amex Travel. I see each particular reservation, the arrival departure date, the rate code that the reservation had, and the rate amount. I see the total revenue, the amount of commission, and the total amount commission that is currently due. Right? And then I could print that report out if I wanted to. And the last thing I want to talk about are prepaid commissions, because I do have a travel agency set up as that. So if I go into, you'll notice if I go into my financials and go into commission, the one I'm looking for is actually called a commission practice prepaid, and I don't actually see that option here. I have to actually go into the travel agency to look at those commissions that are prepaid, because it doesn't really generate any commissions. It's just kind of a way for you to keep track of what commissions you were due to a travel agency that's considered prepaid. So if I come here, type in prepaid. If I go to my commissions tab here, I have an option over here for paid status. From here, I could choose prepaid. And then from here, this will show me my reservations. You'll notice I can't mark this as paid because it's technically already prepaid. This is just a way for you to be able to keep track of any commissions that were set as prepaid. And that's going to bring us to the end of our commissions webinar. I'm going to go ahead and open up the forum to any questions that anyone might have. All right, I have one question. It says, how do we configure a commission rate, for example, Expedia? What I would do with that is I would create an actual travel agency card for Expedia, and I would also, on the rate code for Expedia, mark that as commissionable. So under your settings, under your rates, would find, and I think I actually have an Expedia rate code here. I think, yeah, you can go into your Expedia rate code. And this is after you build the contract. So if this was a negotiated rate and you built the contract for it, you can come back into the rate code here, go into additional details, and mark that as commissionable. You just have to remember to check that charge code of any charge code that would generate commissions. So room charge.
Thank you again, everyone, for attending. So happy you were able to make the time to join us. And do keep an eye on your email for future webinar invites. We'll definitely be sending more out. So thanks again and have a lovely rest of your day.